Hey guys, welcome back in here to Legacy. So today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish up the professions for Dragon Warriors, and I'm going to talk about the assassin profession, which is probably the most detailed and complicated profession for Dragon Warriors. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna adjust that just a bit. Sorry, I'm gonna get my camera right. I knocked it over a second ago, so it got when it got knocked on the floor, it got off center. So I'm trying to get it back centered. Um, so assassins are the most rare profession uh, in Dragon Warriors. They're also one of the more complicated mechanically, but I say that, but they're still easy to play. Nothing about this game is complicated. A lot of assassin stuff comes down to choice. Um, and in fact, you can even bypass a lot of their more mystical abilities to take additional skill choices, which I'll explain the skills here in a little bit. But assassins, um, are defined. They are the people that make craft of murder. They use guile, stealth, poison, trickery. Um, they're not very well liked. The assassins guilds are super secretive and generally do not allow non-humans into them. Uh, Only humans will become assassins, generally speaking, um, because of that. They're also the hardest class mechanically to qualify for. You have to have a 12 reflex and a 9 in both intelligence and psychic talent to qualify as an assassin. Assassins are incredibly difficult to qualify as for various reasons. Um, they also do not wear heavy armor. They take penalties from wearing heavy armor. They prefer light armor, which is going to be anything under mail armor. Mail armor and above is going to generate penalties to them. They like to be light. They like to be quick. They like to be able to use their hands and their feet really easy. Um, that being said, uh, what kind of special abilities do they get? This is where you're going to get into what makes an assassin an assassin. So the big thing is assassins. They rely heavily on the stealth and perception skills. Uh, and so their stealth and perception are always higher than any other class, no matter what it is. They will not be outstripped in those abilities. I will get in how to use perception and stealth when I do the next video, which is going to be the basic rules of the game. I've done the combat, I've done the magic because they were important to understand how class abilities worked. Again, I will do another video that will cover all the ground rules for like falling and all that kind of fun stuff in the next video. But just know their stealth and perception scores are high on purpose because that is where their realm of power comes from. Basically, they are incredibly stealthy, incredibly perceptive characters. Um, so, because they have so many abilities to like basically disappear and all that kind of stuff with stealth, a lot of people are going to assume their abilities are supernatural, preternatural. They're not. They are very based in reality. That being said, uh, they get several abilities. I'm going to read a list of abilities that they get, and then I'll go in and explain how all the abilities work and all the sub abilities work. So they get their stealth, high stealth, and then they get combat techniques, mental techniques, meditational techniques, alchemical techniques, and finally skills. So let's get into how that works. So combat techniques, beginning at first rank, you're going to get your first one. You're going to gain one at every 2 ranks up to 7th rank. You will gain a new combat technique. Um, so uh, their combat techniques are what they sound like. They're going to improve their ability to hurt people in combat and be more efficient at murder. So the different ones you can take with them, I'm going to go through them. I'm going to describe them. The first is armor piercing. Assassins can take armor piercing, which allows them to add +1 to their armor bypass rolls. Again, go reference the combat video if you want to know how armor bypass rolls work. But just know it makes it easier to actually wound people uh, when you're fighting as an assassin, which is kind of cool. Their next one is a shock attack. It is like a sneak attack in D&D, but it does not function like a sneak attack in D&D at all. So first off, you have to be within 3 meters of an opponent without them having noticed you. So this is where your high stealth is going to come into handy. And then you also have to be higher rank than the opponent. So if you're a first rank assassin, you're probably not going to take shock attack because you're not high enough rank to start shock attacking people. But once you have shock attack, if you are higher rank, you're going to get the shock attack, which is done on a table. You roll a d6, and there are 4 effects you can gain. I should have copied this into an image, and I forgot to, so guys, forgive me. You can stun, make them aghast, they're astonished or surprised. Each of those is going to have different mechanical effects. So, for example, when you astonish somebody, their attack goes to 0, their evasion and defense are halved. So, which is probably the best result you can get. Again, I'm not going to go through every last detail on the table, but just know shock attack can really jack somebody up. Even being stunned hurts because it makes their attack, defense, and evasion 0. So shock attack is a very powerful ability. You also gain the ability to create and use what are called throwing spikes. Think ninja stars. That's actually the analogy they give. Think of the ninja star. They are going to do a D2 armor bypass, 2 damage per one you throw. You can create 3 at any given time. So you also can throw, 9 at a time. You can throw up to 3 in any given attack. They do not have to target the same opponent. You can throw them at 3 different people. And they're pretty, they actually, so they can get kind of scary. Assassins can. They can be reused if you can find them. Like, so if they get stuck in somebody or something, you can always get them back. They do cost about 3 to 12 florins, which is the standard currency, per every 9 you're going to make. So you will be putting a little bit of investment into a monetary investment into playing an assassin, because a lot of your stuff is going to cost you for the materials you need. The final combat technique they take is unarmed combat. Normally, combat is not very effective in this game. Does 1 point of damage, uses a D4 bypass, not super effective. Assassins instead make an armor bypass roll with a D6 and do 3 points of damage on a successful unarmed blow when they take the unarmed combat technique. So again, assassins are very efficient combatants, even in tight spots. But again, guys, you're going to choose one of these. You're going to eventually have all of them, but you're going to choose them in the order of your choice at 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th rank. So there's that. The next step is your mental techniques. This is going to be your ability to cinch traps, things like that. You're going to get one at 4th rank, and then again at 8th rank, and finally at the 12th rank, you gain your ultimate ability for an assassin, which is called Death Vow. But before we get to Death Vow, let's talk about the other 2, because again, you're going to choose the order you take these in, except for Death Vow. Inner Sense is the first one. Inner Sense allows you to operate in pure darkness. When you come within 1 meter of a pit, obstacle, being or trap, even in pitch blackness, you will sense it if you roll under your psychic talent on the D20. Again, this is encouraged. You can house roll this way. It is encouraged in the book that the GM make the roll for the player, so he's not aware if he senses anything unless he actually makes the roll. So, and they also carry what's called a hand lantern. It's basically a small hand-sized lantern that they can hold it like this and like open their fingers, and it'll let small beams of light out that will basically only allow them to see. And it's very, 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 very hard for other people to see that light. Not impossible, but harder for other people to see that light. So assassins don't carry like hooded lanterns and stuff. They carry the hand lantern. The next ability you could purchase is going to be called Memorize. Assassins get basically photographic memories. Anything learned within the last month that they've seen, read, encountered can be remembered with 100% accuracy. Total recall. It does go down by 10% for each month beyond the first. So 2 months would be 90, 3 months would be 80, so forth, so forth. So you could actually remember further back than a month, but you're going to have less recall and a chance to actually fail recalling the information as time passes. But for the purposes of that 1 month, you have photographic memory, which is very, very useful. And like if you read a parchment that later gets burned and it's been within a month, the assassin, if he read it, he can quote it back to you. The last technique they gain, which is their ultimate technique, this is the one you don't get to choose. It just comes. It's called Death Vow. Assassins can basically swear out vengeance against any one player here, any one NPC or monster or whatever. Um, when they do this, it takes 1 week of game time to do this. You review, absorb everything you know about your intended target. Um, so if you come within 3 meters of the target at any time, you go into a killing frenzy that lasts until one of the two of you are dead. Um, it does give you, for purposes of attacking that target, you get a +10 attack and +2 to armor bypass and on the damage. So you get +2 by armor bypass, +2 damage to your weapon. And the damage, instead of blacking out at 0 hit points and fighting your intended target, you will not drop until you're dead at -3. So you basically get 3 free hit points to continue fighting with. And if he's tracking his intended target, he needs neither drink or food or rest, and covers twice the usual distance cross country. So literally, you go into like a kill mode for a target. You can only do this once at a time. If you choose that you no longer want to kill that target, it takes a week to kind of come out of the frenzy, and you can take another week to set a new target as well. So you can take basically 2 weeks to set a new target. Okay, that is their mental techniques, and they're actually, like I said, fairly potent. They're not; these characters are very, very, very powerful characters. They're not very weak characters. They also gain meditational techniques that allow them to, lack of a better way, they can basically mimic the abilities of mystics without having to cast spells, which is pretty cool. So they have several different techniques that they learn, starting with light trance, which is their first rank. You're going to have this from the moment you create the assassin. It allows rapid recovery from injury and poison. You must remain in the trance for 1 full day, at the end of which you recover an extra 1d8 health points in addition to any HP you would recover naturally. And there's a 20% chance that the trance will neutralize any disease or toxin from which you're suffering. So light trance, pretty good. Definitely keeps you alive. Darkness trance, second rank, duplicates the ability of the spell suspended animation. For lack of a better way of putting it, you can put yourself into almost like a coma-like state that you don't even show up as being alive for the purposes of things like sense person or ESP. For all extents and purposes, you are counted as dead. And you can allow this, once you enter this stance, this trance, which takes 2 hours to enter into, you can stay in that coma for a preset amount of time, up to a year and a day. So up to 366 days. So pretty potent ability as well. Fourth rank opens up water trance. You spend 1 hour to get into the state. At the end, you basically cannot be mind read anymore. ESP does not do it. Scry does not show you. It effectively mind cloaks you for 20 minutes, which mind cloak is a mystic spell. Super useful if you're fighting against anybody who uses some type of mystic abilities or scrying type abilities. It allows you to sneak in and they won't even know you're there. The Earth Trance happens at 6th rank. It lasts as long as you wish to maintain it. You are no longer harmed by the extremes of hot and cold. It goes beyond the normal limits of the survival spell even. It gives partial immunity to fire. So a Dragon Breath and Firestorm spell and Dragon's Flames will be reduced to a straight 10 hit point damage versus their normal damage. And you can go for up to an hour without even breathing while in Earth Trance. Like I said, guys, these get pretty gnarly. You can see why they're hard to qualify as. 8th rank, Assassin is able to enter the Void Trance. It lasts a half hour, at the end of which you gain the benefit of the hidden target. It lasts 15 minutes. Give me a second. Let me get page 91 real fast. I'll tell you how hidden target works. So this allows you to pick off targets with arrow, sling, or thrown dagger, even if you're blindfolded. You will ignore the penalties for poor visibility. Even in thick target, if the target is invisible, you shoot as if you see them perfectly. So basically, you're able to use a bow as if you could see everything, regardless of if they would otherwise be obscured from you, which is pretty nice. The Fire Trance is a 10th rank thing, 10th rank ability. It lasts 1 hour, or takes 1 hour to enter, and gives you the effects of swiftness, which will last for 5 minutes after the trance is entered. Once you enter the trance, you move twice your normal speed, strike twice per combat, and everything else that swiftness is going to give you. So basically, it literally mimics the swiftness spell. Again, that could be very, very powerful, which again, that's why it's a 10th rank ability. Striking twice in combat is not something to sneeze at in this game because almost nobody can do it. When you hit Scout, come on. Scout, come on. Get. Sorry, cat got in my way. 12th rank, you hit Wind Trance. It takes 1 hour to enter and gives you intangibility. It is subject to what's called a spell expiry roll, which I went into in the magic video. Please go watch that video. Basically, it lasts until the spell expiry roll fails. But intangibility is a really good spell too. Go read that one too, because there's a lot of really good stuff in this game, in this section. Intangibility. Says page. I guess it's page 94, but intangibility is not on page 94. It's on page 93 because it's dumb. The Mystic and any item he's wearing is carrying become intangible. He can pass through solid objects as though we're not there, while intangible. A magic weapon is required to hit him in combat. And indirect attack spells like Firestorm pass harmlessly through his instantaneous form, though direct attack spells are fully effective. So basically, you become like a ghost. As stated earlier, though, if at any point you choose, you do not have to take the meditational techniques. If you would gain a meditational technique that you do not want, you can instead forego it for taking another skill selection, which can make you a little bit different because not all assassins are built exactly the same. Alchemical techniques. You get to make alchemical items. There's 3 of them that you get. The first is going to be, you're going to get Assassin's Lotion, which is your poison. You can coat weapons, anything like that. You can coat throwing spikes, edge of swords. It does take 1 combat round to coat a weapon. It will last only 1 minute, or the lotion becomes useless, becomes oxidized and becomes useless. It does take up to 3 days, 150 florins to get the materials, but that will make you 5 applications. Real quick, let me get to the poison table here. It is considered a normal poison. So when you hit the opponent with this poison, they have to roll under their strength on a 3d6. If they do not, they take 1d, or if they do, they take 1d4 hit points, then 1d3 hit points, and then it stops dealing damage. If they fail that roll, they straight out, they're dead. It is a save or suck. So go. By the way, all of these take place starting at 1st rank. So these are not gained by rank. These are actually all done at rank 1. So your next one you're going to gain is going to be your smoke jar. It's a clay pot which functions like a vial of smoke. For encumbrance purposes, it's counted as 2 items. It takes 2 days to prepare and costs 100 florins for 1 use. So you know what a vial of smoke does. A volatile mixture is used to store in a clay bottle or tube of crystal. When the container is smashed, a dense cloud of white fog forms rapidly, billowing out to a distance of 5 meters. Visibility is nil. You can't see in this, even for a character using clairvoyance. A d6 is rolled at the start of each subsequent combat round. On a roll of 6, the fog dispersed. So it lasts as long as you don't roll a 6 as well. So vial of smoke is a great tool to get out. If you need to get out of combat, you can drop that and get. The last one you can do is called the flash pellet. This is the Batman flash pellet. I mean, that's the way to describe it. Any side creature within 5 meters is dazzled for the next combat round, allowing you to flee from the scene or conceal yourself. It takes 1 day to prepare 3 of the pellets. They are 1 encumbrance point, and each of the ingredients cost 50 florins. So 150 florins to make 3 of them. there is a chance you could fail to make any of these properly. Uh, if there's a 50% chance at first rank will turn out useless, and it drops by 5% every rank thereafter till it drops to 0 eventually. And the only way you're going to know if you made it right is try to use it. So that again will probably be made by the DM to determine if you're able to actually properly make it. Again, you don't have to take alchemical abilities. If you do not want them, you can take an additional skill at first rank, which you get one skill automatically. You can take a second skill at first rank. And then you get into skills. Skills can often be taken more than once. 2 to 3 times is not uncommon here, generally. But the different skills can, again, be very useful. The first skill they can take is Breakfall. You no longer take damage from 6 meters when you take it the first time. You can take it up to 3 times, up to 18 meters. So basically, you can fall 18 meters without hurting yourself, up to 18 meters without hurting yourself, where everyone else takes damage the moment they fall 6 meters. So you can take Climbing. They have special iron claws that don't carry encumbrance that fit over their gloves. They modify the usual climbing rules, which we'll get into in the next video. When you wish to climb a wall or cliff face, you subtract half your rank rounded down from the difficulty factor. And if you take it a second time, you subtract your full rank. So, and again, pretty simple. So if the difficulty to climb a wall is 20 and you're a 10th rank assassin, if you've taken it once, it's going to be 15. If you've taken it twice, it's going to be 10. Not very super difficult to understand the mechanics there. If you have the climbing skill already, you can also take the jumping skill. When you have the jumping skill, you can leap up to any obstacle below 3 meters in height, given you have at least 5 meters to run up to it. This is executed as a single jumping somersault. Spectacular, though. It can lead to problems if there's a drop on the other side. This skill may be selected a second time, allowing you to jump up to 4.5 meters in height. So you can actually get pretty far up. What's 4.5 meters? 12 feet? Just over 12 feet? Or 13 feet? Something like that? 13 and a half feet? Something like that. I'm trying to do the math. 13 and a half feet, somewhere in that range. It's a pretty good jump. You can also take Disguise. Disguise, pretty simple skill. Blend into groups and mimic non-specific. The first time you take it, you can mimic non-specific people, just like a generic priest, a generic guard, whatever. There is a chance you'll be seen through it. This determines subtracting the observing character's perception from the assassin's stealth, and then it has to be rolled under a 2d10 to pass undetected. It's like a normal stealth roll without any additional modifiers to stealth. It must be repeated every 10 minutes to pull it off. That roll must be repeated. You have to roll also if you try to speak to somebody, because you kind of give off the heebie-jeebies as an assassin, and people will kind of pick up that you're not who you say you are. If you take it a second time, you can actually mimic particular people and pass as particular people. Come on, Scout, go. I don't want you right now. I'm doing something, so she has to be right on top of me. You can also pilfer. Pilfer is what it sounds like. You can cut purse strings, steal rings off hands, take small items off people. It is a normal stealth versus perception roll with an intrinsic penalty to -4 to the assassin to a stealth roll. If you take it a second time, it is -2. If you fail the roll, you fail to get the item. I mean, it's pretty common sense. It's like using thief skills in the thief skill to steal from people in second edition D&D or any edition of D&D. Pick locks. So picking locks, what it sounds like, it is going to be based on a base percentage of 30%. You may pick the pick lock skill up to 3 additional times for an increase of 30% per time, up to a total of 90%. There are a couple modifiers. If your intelligence is 16 or more, you get a 5% boost. If it is reflexes or 16 or higher, you get a boost of 10%. The GM is going to be the one that makes this roll to determine if you actually make the chance. So okay, so this is going to be something I will actually encourage you to house roll away on this second part here, but per raw, there is a percentage roll made that you have to roll under your rank to gain to actually open the lock. The reason I'm going to say I would house roll this away will be because low rank characters can spend literally all day just trying to pick a lock. Because what is the chance you're going to roll a 2 or a 3 or a 4? I mean, you're talking about 4% chance here. A increasingly stupidly low. There, you could house roll that away. You could have them roll, for example, if you want to use a roll like that, you can have them roll a percentage roll, and that tells you how far along they got picking the lock or whatever. Using their rank, I think, is a little superfluous. That's a personal thing, because of the fact that low rank assassins just are not going to pick locks. It's just how it is. One, you already have a super low chance to do it, to succeed in the first place at 30%. And now you're talking about you may have like a 2% chance to actually get it open, or to figure out when you get it open. That's a little overtly complicated. That's one of the few things I'll tell you I'm not a big fan of. The last thing you do gain the ability to track, just the same as a cat. Get out of the camera now. Go. To track just like you would if you were a knight or barbarian, except they gain +2 bonus in all tracking related perception rolls. So, and for skills, you're going to gain skills at 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 11th rank. And again, you can also choose skills in lieu of both alchemical and meditational techniques. So you can take, instead of taking those kind of mystical abilities, you can instead take regular skills. As far as how assassins play and work, I've already said they're not very popular characters in game. They're known as murderers and thieves. Knights really don't like them because they're kind of dishonest and they're kind of shady. As far as how they play, they can be combat monsters, but in specific circumstances. They want to sneak around. They're going to be the guys that you want to send into places that you can't get into otherwise. That's what their job is. There is another profession in the player's guide that does a lot of similar stuff to what the assassin can do when it comes down to like sneaking in and stuff, which is the knave. He's a little less efficient, but he doesn't get all the murder hobo stuff. Scout, come on, Bug. You're in the camera. I know. You want attention. Sorry, guys. This cat is being an attention whore today. But the assassin class, who should play the assassin class? If you're wanting to play kind of a thieving, kind of secretive, stealthy, tracking type character that doesn't feel like isn't just the stereotypical rogue from, say, D&D. He is a hyper focused character, so notice that it's not about. They really focus their abilities on their ability to get in and out of places and to succeed at what their job is, which is murder. So you kind of have to be used to that when you're dealing with it. Other than that, guys, assassins, like I said, difficult to qualify as well, so keep that in mind as well. But if you want to play a fun assassin class, I actually think the assassin class from Dragon Warriors is one of the better tropey assassin classes I've ever seen. So there's definitely that. A lot of fun. Very, they could be kind of finicky because there's a lot of choice. You're going to choose a lot of different abilities over the course of play, but still worth it. Just keep that in mind as well. So either way, guys, as always, Leave thoughts, comments, questions, concerns below. I am always happy to hear from you guys. As always, please follow the 3 rules. No ad hominems, no picking fights. Don't leave me college dissertations. Other than that, guys, we do hope you guys have fun, and we do hope to see you guys around the game table at some point.